Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be this day on our fine planet Earth. Welcome once again to another Holy Forge podcast. I am always, as your host, Vincent. Well, I think I'm still saying that wrong. I am as always your host, Vincent. Look, now, not only do you have to listen to me mess up my intros, now you get to watch me in real time spiral out of control as I try to get the intro right. But welcome again, my friends, to another episode of the Holy Forge podcast. I have just gotten home from work, maybe 20 minutes ago, scrambling to get my OBS up and get recording. So, made a couple of new changes to the show, mostly just in the show logo. I did some modernization of it, and just I wanted to spruce it up a little bit. So hopefully you like it. And so I do owe everyone who watches me, tunes into the show, an apology. One, got to get on a better content schedule of regularly recording and uploading in a timely manner, because last week I did a collaborative episode with Sheena from the Let's Talk About Life podcast, and that has yet to be edited and uploaded. So I saw her on Sunday at church, and I apologized. I said, "My friend, I'm working on it. I had my son and this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah, and all the things were happening, and life was lifing." And she understood and said, "No problem, bro." So I appreciate you, Sheena, for your patience, and appreciate all of you for continuing to check me out. I have been doing. If you didn't know already, I do have an Instagram for the Holy Forge podcast, calling it Holy Forge Mornings, where I do. At first, the first one was like 15 minutes, and I've been shortening it because Instagram's like, hey, we're not going to show this clips over like, I think it's like 5 minutes don't get shown to new people or something, and I want the word that God has given me and the wisdom and what I feel like I have to offer people to reach as many folks as I can. So podcast is for longer form content, and Instagram I need to keep to 3 minutes or under. And I need to act like I've been trained in public speaking and giving short and concise, deliveries of rhetoric and narrative, things. Because I have done that. And I'm not bad at it, but I'm rusty at it, right? And which is a good segue into the topic of today, which I don't plan on being on here for super long, but a couple of things I want to talk about. This morning, I had mentioned about being grateful for the things that God is doing for us, things that we see, things that we don't see, things that we understand and that we don't understand, because we have so much to be grateful for. For as bad as you think your situation is, it can be a whole heck of a lot worse, right? And even if you think it's as worse as it can get, well, you're still on this side of eternity with the rest of us. And I know that sounds a bit, clichéic and super silver lining and super reaching, but it's the truth of the matter. And I personally believe that as long as you're still on this side of eternity, there's opportunity for your situation to get better. There's opportunity for God to show himself strong in your favor. There's opportunity for you to restore relationships, to receive healing, to mend and to grow and to get better, achieve goals and objectives, all the things that you want to do. As long as you're still alive, there's opportunity to make this life better for yourself and for someone else. So I wanted to, just kind of go back and touch on that this morning, what I talked about this morning, because again, I'm trying to keep it short to 3 minutes on Instagram. So on Instagram, it's Holy Forge Podcast. Yeah. I'm very fortunate that that hasn't been taken already. Right. So that's how one way I know that, and I also probably need to reserve that website too. I probably need to go ahead and do that, buy that domain. I'm gonna do that tonight because I know I need to set up a website for the podcast also. So many different things, y'all. So many different things. Just as a quick catch up, I told everyone I got promoted at work. Now I'm a team lead, and now there's more and more things happening where it seems like there's more and more opportunity for me to step up and be a leader, step up and what I had considered to be the dusting and brushing off of skill sets that I thought I would be able to just let go to the wayside, that I wasn't gonna need anymore. I was just gonna go to work, stay in my corner and color, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you're the only one left. You want to be in charge? Sure. And while I'm not opposed to having responsibility and things like that, I'm not gonna lie and say that it was, not a little disconcerting. I was a little apprehensive about all of it, because it had been so long that, I was trying to be in leadership positions after I got the military and things like that, and it just wasn't working. I was happy to come to work and do my job because I consider myself fortunate, that I'm apparently in a small number of people who love what they do. I really love it. It's fun for me. I could be doing it right now, but I need to do things that God told me to do. So that's why I'm recording. But anyway, so with that, being able to work and being given more responsibility there, where where I'm in meetings and a whole lot more meetings now, and senior leadership is looking around, hey, who's this, that, who's going to do that and the other. Everyone's kind of sitting there looking around like waiting for someone else, and I'm like, okay, this is stupid. I'll do it. I got it covered. Don't worry. And I go and bang it out and it's done, right? And so sometimes, folks, we be looking for God to, crack the sky open and send the mighty word or send a prophet to us, or, we go to church and we're waiting for someone to speak over our life, and we already know what we need to do. We just need to go do it. And I heard the same thing on the radio this morning, the Christian radio station I usually just have my car tuned to, when I get in. And I usually listen to like YouTube music and listen to, my own playlists and things like that. But the oh, excuse me, the sister on there this morning, she was saying something along the very same lines of, we don't need, not like we don't need to ask God what to do, right? We don't need not seek his guidance. We need definitely to seek his guidance. But I'm in the camp that I think a good majority of the time we already know what we need to do. We just need to go and do it. Go feeling apprehensive, being scared, being concerned, being worried. Those things are not a sin. It is not a sin to be apprehensive. It's not a sin to be afraid of new territory and new places and new things, right? It is a sin if we allow that fear to overcome us, if we allow that fear to cause us to sin, if we're disobedient to God, if we're harmful or hurtful to others. Those things are what God is not pleased with. But he's not pleased with us just being fearful, right? If that makes sense. These are emotions, these are natural reactions to things that are unfamiliar to us, or things where we feel like we're not strong in. But we have to recognize when he's trying to make us strong by thrusting us sometimes into those positions where we have no choice but to say, okay, God, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it. And trust that he will make up for our slack. He'll pick up where we're weak because he is God and he is the master and creator of all things. So I'm pretty sure he's got our slack. And even with the church that I've been attending, I started going when woman I'm dating right now, she invited me. First few times, I think I turned her down. I was like, nah, I'm good on church. I was still hurting from my divorce and stuff like that, and didn't want to deal with church people and everything. And but then I wound up going, and I think I knew before I went, I was like, I'm gonna wind up joining the church, and I wound up doing all sorts of stuff. And I think that was the real reason why I didn't want to go. But here I am, almost a year later now that I've been a member, I think. And I'm helping them, with their IT, starting off, but not just IT, like, I've been asked to kind of take the reins and lead in creating some programs and this, that, and the other, and helping with the men and leading the development of that ministry, and at least assisting those who are in leadership with the development of that ministry. Because I see that it has been made evident to the people there that I'm not a new Christian. I do know a little bit about a little bit. I understand, church doctrine and, tradition. And while our church is not traditional, and neither am I, But I understand the backgrounds people are coming from. There's a lot of things, and it's not boasting on myself. It's just I've been places and I've done things, and it's recognized. I haven't had to wave a flag or toot a horn. My gifts have made room for me. I see that happening real time. I see how God is opening doors for me slowly but surely. I just have to make sure I'm doing what I need to do, right? I need to make sure I'm spending plenty of time with Him in His Word, in prayer, fasting. Yes, all the things, y'all. All the things that we don't like to do. I know your boy. I need to do them. I need to do them more. I want to be enthusiastic about doing them. Where just like going to the gym and working out, the scriptures talk about, that the health of our spiritual man and how that is important. And a lot of us are walking around here spiritually anorexic, underfed, malnourished. The most word that we get is on Sundays, and that's just not enough. And so we can always be doing more. And I just want to encourage you to do more, to push yourself to do more, spiritually and physically, mentally, emotionally, self-care, all those things. We are a total being. God has not made us one-sided. We are multifaceted, multidimensional, if you will. There are many aspects to the individual, many hats that we wear as people. I'm a father. I'm a boyfriend. I'm a friend. I'm the oldest sibling. Some people's best friend. I'm a team lead. I'm a veteran. Riddle off the list. And so all those things are different aspects of ourself. At work I need to be more, more focused. And while I'm laid back and chilled and I like to laugh and joke, but then, my team is, adapting to my style of leadership. Okay, all right, enough time. Or if they see me come around the corner, I gotta turn and look at my face. Okay, it's serious. You gotta tell us something serious now. Like, y'all stop joking. you know. So I guess it's kind of rambly. One other thing I was thinking about too, as I was coming up the stairs from my car, to tell you all too, was, I am, I'm a little weird, if that isn't evident already. But I love, knights, right? And, armor, swords, hence Holy Forge, blacksmithing and all that, kind of stuff. And a couple of concepts I tried to live my life by that I want to pass along, is three concepts. The concept of strength, dignity, and honor. It's not novel. It's not new. These are, ideas and concepts that are as old as mankind itself, pretty much. But in our modern era, the idea of strength, what true strength is twisted and perverted in many ways. True strength comes from holding back and resisting and not leaning into certain things. It takes, far more strength to not go off on somebody than it does to go off on somebody. The going off is the path of least resistance, right? The flying off, say crashing out, as people like to say nowadays. The crashing out is that's easy to do. To just not care and just let out whatever it is you're feeling, rather than controlling, processing, and understanding your emotions and responding logically and intelligently to a situation. Not saying that feeling emotions is bad, not saying getting angry or feeling, or having a knee-jerk reaction, an immediate visceral reaction to something is bad. No. Once again, that is part of being human. However, when that moment passes, or when that instant, that internal, those microseconds of time that passes where you initially feel something and time around you seems to slow down, and all that is prevalent is what you're feeling in that moment, there is opportunity to say, okay, Holy Spirit, help me get control of this. Help me not respond in the way that everyone else is responding. Help me to do better. Strength is not, being overbearing or dominating someone else or territory or situation or circumstance. True strength might be being patient, being humble, being quiet, waiting, watching, seeing what's happening, and then responding, right? Because then you try to save yourself and a whole lot of people a lot of other trouble. Um, Strength, honor, um, treating, being honest, being virtuous, um, loving, caring, kind. So many different words and ideas and themes that come along with honor. Um, Living a life of honor where people, yeah, that's an honorable man, that's an honorable woman, where people can trust you with the precious, delicate places of themselves and their life, where they know you're not going to abuse them or misuse them or slander them or put their business out in the streets. You're an honorable person. And dignity, because we all want to be treated with dignity. First, you got to treat yourself with dignity. You got to respect yourself. Recognize that you are worthy of being treated with dignity, being treated with dignity, and then extending that to others also. If you're in, let's say, a breakup situation, a divorce situation, or you're breaking up boyfriend, girlfriend, or you've been in a long-term relationship, you can still, and I believe God wants you to treat the other person with dignity and honor, right? Especially if, I'm not even gonna say if, especially if they didn't do anything to you, right? They weren't abusive or anything like that. It's just, how about I say, just didn't work out at the end of the day. Even if there are things that you don't like and disagreed with and you even argued over, but you can still treat someone with dignity, right? You don't have to belittle and be mean to them and put them in a bad light with someone else because you're mad at them. Whereas the person you're mad at and someone else might get along incredibly, and the God might use that relationship to provide deliverance, healing, or whatever the case may be. You don't know. All you can do and control is the things that you can do and the situations that you're directly involved with. And even then, you can only control your actions. You can't control what someone else is going to do in the situation. And we have to accept that. So I just wanted to drop that with you as well. How long have I been recording now? There it is. 17 minutes. I'm watching the time today only because I have to go back out to the store and get some stuff to make dinner. We got some cleaning to do. It's kind of dusty around here. Just all the things. I want to get better at my content schedules, which is hilarious because I manage projects at work. I'm not going to say flawlessly, but we're seeing significant improvements on, project delivery and all those kinds of things, milestones and whatnot. But then I get home and be like, okay, I got all the things I need to do. I'm just like busting my own suspenses and I'm disorganized. I'm just like, what? Who put me in charge at work? Oh man, it cracks me up. But it's really, if you find yourself in a similar situation, it's, turning the TV off, putting the game down, waiting for the hobbies or even the time spent with friends or loved ones to do things that you really need to do up front. Get it out the way. A pastor once said when I was in Alaska, the church I was going to, he had said, we need to do the things that we need to do so that we can do the things that we want to do. Again, not a novel concept or saying, but it has stuck with me because just his delivery of it and additional context, which I can't remember right now. But it stuck with me. The core of what he was saying is like, we just need to stop being lazy, stop procrastinating. I can speak, y'all. I really can. Apparently not today. But don't push off for tomorrow what can be done today. Because we don't know what tomorrow holds. We don't know what challenges, what opportunities might be on tomorrow. And I guess the last thing, because it made me think about it, I'll say is, Christians, sometimes we have a very negative bias for people who are supposed to be representing God, Christ, the kingdom of heaven, joy, peace, love, happiness, long life, good relationships. We have a very negative approach to a lot of things. Like when something goes wrong, the first thing we think is that we sinned or what did I do wrong? Now we're human. And so we're subject to sinning and doing something wrong, but we don't give enough credit for grace. I think we don't give ourselves enough grace. For one, I know I definitely don't give myself enough grace. But two, we don't, we jump to what's going wrong. What happened? Where did I mess up? Where sometimes, and I'm not even sure the frequency or the percentage of time, but I do believe there are numerous occasions where something is going the way it exactly needs to go. Not because we did anything wrong, but that God might get the glory out of the situation. And there's a set of scriptures in the New Testament where I think it was the apostles, they met a family or boy who was sick. And forgive me if I'm misquoting it, and I probably could just look it up, but I don't feel like pulling up my phone. So forgive my head and and hear my heart. But I do remember that they asked who sinned, and it was said neither. This was allowed to happen that God might be glorified in the situation. And so you can take that and apply it to your life, that sometimes, and hear me, sometimes you didn't do anything wrong. You did all the right stuff. In fact, it's happening because you did the right thing, that God might get the glory out of the situation. Have you tried my servant Job? Job did nothing wrong. He was actually doing all the right stuff. And God said, try him. You can't touch his life, but you can touch everything else around him. So I think sometimes we fall into that situation, we probably should give ourselves a bit more credit, those of us who are following Christ, that, maybe we're not so bad, right? And it's not to say that, we should just lead and live very hedonistic lives. We're just seeking pleasure and everything's covered under grace and it's going to be all right, because there are still consequences, right? We're not immune from the consequences of sin and poor choices. I am an example, a living proof of that. But what we are free from is the eternal separation from God, that where sin leads to death, eternal death, which is separation from God. That's what we avoid. But we might have to pay a little bit of a price in this life if we do some wrong stuff. But also be encouraged that you might not always be doing the wrong thing, and allow God. If God is not, I believe he will show us if we ask him, where did I go wrong? He'll show us where we went wrong at, or you didn't do anything wrong. You're my son, you're my daughter, and I love you. This happened because you were doing the right things. Just wait. Just wait. So yeah. And when I hit the yeah, it's a sign for me that I know I need to probably move on and to the next task for the day. So I appreciate you joining me for today. I hope I said something that was of value to you, that inspired, encouraged you, gave you a better understanding. Hope you just had a good time hanging out with me for 23 minutes so far. So I will end it with that, my friends. Check me out, Holy Forge Mornings on Instagram. This will be going up on YouTube and Spotify. You can send me an email at holyforgepod@gmail.com. Eventually, that'll be transitioning to a holyforgepodcast.com once I register that domain, which I'm probably going to do before I go to the store, because it's super cheap and I don't want to lose it. So I appreciate you, my friends. Have a wonderful day wherever you are on planet Earth, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.